Hey, happy Wednesday. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon for your lunchtime forecast. I'm meteorologist Taylor Cox, and today we're talking about another chance for hail across the northern and central plains. We're also watching Debby, that tropical storm Debby that is now just off the coast of South Carolina, looking to make a second landfall over the next 24 hours. It, of course, has some severe storms likely with that, as well as historic rainfall, and then a likely increase in tropical activity as we head into August. So the National Hurricane Center put out an outlook for the next 2 weeks, and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But for now, I want to go ahead and get to one of our upcoming events. We have the NTRCA Not So Many Trade Show. This is happening tomorrow down in Grapevine, Texas, just outside of the DFW area. You can go to ntrca.com to register for the event, or head over to our Facebook. We have a link to register there. And then, of course, tell us that you're coming on our Facebook event. We have a booth at the NTRCA Not So Many Trade Show, so we would love for you to stop by and let us know that you're coming so that we know to expect you. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what happened yesterday. You can see that we had a good amount of wind, maybe a little bit of hail up to the north and west. We had a ton of wind, anywhere from Chicago all the way to New York, and then of course that tropical system down to the south and east. So that's the big three things that we watched yesterday. I do want to go ahead and get right into those storm reports here. What we really saw yesterday was more wind than we necessarily did hail, but we of course tracked that hail for you as well. Let's take a look at some of those wind reports here. Anywhere from Chicago up to Cleveland, we were tracking those storms yesterday for the noon show. And then we saw, of course, some small hail go through places like Pittsburgh, just to the east there, into places like New York. If you head farther out to the west, you can see that Montana, anywhere from the panhandle of Nebraska all the way up to Montana, saw a good amount of hail reports in this area. However, I do think that they were mostly on the smaller side. Also, down to the south, we saw a ton of rain from this tropical storm. So Tropical Storm Debby, one of the biggest threats with this has been that flooding issue. If you take a look at rainfall totals here, yesterday's rainfall totals were not as impressive as the day before. So the day before, we saw almost 10 inches of rain in 24 hours. These 24-hour rainfall totals, half of that, 5 1/10 of an inch of rain, almost 6 inches of rain there. Still a ton of rain on top of a lot of that rain that we've gotten over the last 48 hours. So this is definitely not isolated, and it's not ending anytime soon. We still have rain going on in this area. Of course, we're watching for that flooding. Once again in this area, these showers and storms will continue throughout the next 24 hours until Debby finally makes landfall again and then travels up the East Coast. But we'll talk about that track in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and take a look at what else is going on across the country right now. We have a few showers and storms in Montana, a few showers and storms in North and South Dakota, all the way out to the east into the Great Lakes as well. Even an isolated shower there down in Nebraska, just to the west of Omaha. But one thing that I want you to keep an eye on are some of these pop-up showers and storms just outside of Denver in Colorado. That is what we're going to be watching for the next chance for strong to severe storms later on today. And we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But I do want to get to your temperatures. So we're a little bit cooler up to the north. We've got the 90s here in Oklahoma City, 97 in Dallas. At least we're not in the triple digits quite yet. Actually, I don't see anyone in the triple digits across the states. That's great news. 86 in Chandler right now, heading down to Dallas. We've got 98 in Fort Worth. So if you're headed to that conference tomorrow, make sure that you are dressing for the warm weather. It's going to be a toasty one. Drink tons of water here. If you factor in the humidity and all of the moisture in the air, temperatures go well above 100. So we've got 103 out in Shreveport, 104 in San Antonio. I think that may be the hottest. 107 down in Florida. Oh, it's a hot day in Florida, hot and humid down there. All right, let's talk about that next chance for storms. I did mention Colorado. So I want you to look in that corner between Colorado, Nebraska, and Kansas. That is where I think the better chances for some of those stronger, severe storms will be. We could see storms all the way up to Montana, however, pretty low chance there. And then, of course, we're watching for storms out to the east for Tropical Storm Debby. Let's zoom down into the Central Plains here. You can see all of these storms as we head into the evening hours start to use up a lot of that instability. Hail also focusing in a very similar area, anywhere from Nebraska down to Colorado, Kansas, and then even up into Montana. However, we've got a lower chance for those hailstones up in Montana today. And I really think it'll be a pretty low chance in Wyoming as well. But let's go ahead and take a look at your hail map today. Here's a look at your hail forecast. So I do have a pretty decent chance in that corner between Colorado into the Nebraska Panhandle and then down into Kansas for some larger hail. I think those will be pretty isolated. I kept these risks low, highlighted there in green, because I do think that most of the storms anywhere from Montana to northern Wyoming will be non-severe. However, I think we'll have a better chance as we head into Colorado all the way up to South Dakota. So a lot of people could see storms today. Very few will see that hail. The biggest hail size that I expect to see today will be anywhere from an inch and a quarter to an inch and 3/4. I went ahead and put that at golf ball sized hail for this afternoon. I think that'll be very, very isolated. But go ahead and keep an eye on it all the way through this afternoon into the evening hours. We could also see some strong wind gusts out of these storms about in the same area. Anywhere between about 75 to 90 miles an hour. I think we'll go a little bit closer to 75 with that there. I'm very doubtful about a 95-mile-per-hour wind gust, but I guess it can't be ruled out there. Taking a look at the tornado forecast, we've moved off to the east coast now. This is from Tropical Storm Debby. We could once again see some spin-up tornadoes with this. Now, keep in mind, I know we say spin-up tornadoes pretty casually. That does not mean it's a weak tornado. It just means it's pretty fast. It's hard to see. It's most likely rain-wrapped with all of the rain that we're getting in this area. So very difficult to see, very difficult to warn and be forecasted as well. So make sure that you are keeping an eye on this area for some of those stronger storms today. All right, taking a look at tomorrow's forecast. There we go. Actually, let's take a look at today's future radar first. As I mentioned earlier, we have those showers and storms in Montana right now, but keep your eye on Colorado. Ready? Showers and storms go up shortly after this forecast ends, and then they start to spread out across the western half of the state. Some of those stronger storms will be through the central and eastern portion of Colorado, all the way into Nebraska and into the northern side of Kansas. As I mentioned, they go up right after lunchtime today, but continue through the nighttime hours, slowly starting to expand farther up to the north, and that is where we'll watch for some of the biggest and better chances for hail as we head into the overnight hours tonight. By tomorrow morning, we could see some showers and storms in central Kansas. However, I do think that those will be on the non-severe side, the weaker side there. Taking a look at your radar, also farther down to the south, we could see some torrential rain, very isolated here, but that could cause some flooding issues in the Four Corners. All right, let's go across to the east coast here. Let's take a look at Tropical Storm Debby. It's doing something a little funky right now, okay? It was off the coast or on top of South Carolina. However, it went back outside of the coast here, the coastline, back out to sea, and now we're going to see it make a second landfall in South Carolina once again. What does this mean? Not too much other than a ton of rain in this area for a prolonged period of time. So we saw all of that rain yesterday. We're seeing all of that rain today. And of course, as this makes landfall over the next 24 hours, we're going to see that rain for tomorrow as well. So of course, that flooding and severe threat will continue over the next few days. You can take a look at that track here. You can see that that track goes off of South Carolina, back out to sea, and then will eventually make landfall once again in South Carolina as a tropical storm. This will continue, finally giving South Carolina and some of our southeastern states a break from the rain as this tracks farther up to the north as we head into Friday and Saturday, finally off the East Coast by the end of this weekend, still bringing some pretty good rainfall to the northeast. I think I skipped ahead here. Let's take a look at those flood risks. You can see that we do have a pretty decent flood risk out to the east here. However, first I want to talk about that fire risk for today. Farther out to the west, I do want you to be watching for that fire risk in places like western Colorado, all the way out to some of our northwestern communities. I would keep an eye on, you kind of know the drill by now. If you see any smoke, go ahead and call it in. Give as much detail as you can, but then make sure that you have a safe distance away from that smoke. Wildfires are possible for today. But the biggest risk out to the east, of course, will be that flooding risk. You can see that it's a level 4 out of 4, the highest risk that you can go for not only today, tomorrow, but also through Friday. Finally, we'll see this start to move up the coast as we head into Saturday and Sunday. What about those temperatures? I know we've talked a lot about those warm temperatures over the last few days. Here's some great news. For some of us in the central portion of the U.S., we are cooling down just a little bit, just by a few degrees. As we head into Friday and Saturday, our temperatures will top out in the 80s on Friday and Saturday and low 90s. I know that's still hot, but hey, it's way better than the triple digits. We will see triple digits return as we head into next week. Taking a look at that extended outlook here, temperatures for the middle of August, so we're talking August 12th through August 16th, have a pretty high likelihood of being above average for our southern states. Heading farther up to the north, I think maybe a little bit of rainfall up here could keep us a little bit cooler. Temperatures have a pretty decent likelihood of being below average. So here's your average, 84 in Chicago. Chicago actually looks about normal. We're in this gray, so you can expect right about 84. 94 in Oklahoma City, we could expect above 94. What about those 5-day rain chances? We've talked about that rain chance out to the north and east. It looks like we could have some flooding issues out there. However, through the central portion of the U.S., this comes with some cooler temperatures. It does look like we're going to see a little bit more rainfall in this area as well. And taking a look at your extended rainfall outlook through the middle of August, it looks like we're going to see a pattern change up here where we are expecting a little bit more rain farther out to the west, which is great news. We definitely need that. And of course, we're keeping an eye on the tropics, okay? We just saw Tropical Storm Debby expected to make a second landfall in South Carolina. What's expected as we head into the rest of August? Well, the National Hurricane Center came out with a forecast for the next week and then the week after that. So we're talking third week of August at this point. So from the 14th to the 20th, it looks like we have a low chance, so about a 20% chance for tropical storm development out to in the Atlantic here. If you head farther into the Gulf, you get about a 20% chance here. Just off the coast of Florida, even better chance, about 40 to 60%. And then as we head into the second week, or the third week of August here, the 21st through the 27th, it looks like we have a better chance a little bit farther out to the east in the Atlantic, but a lower chance in places like the Gulf here. However, it does look like we're going to see some sort of activity as we head into August. So of course, we'll keep an eye on that for you. As always, give us a follow if you like forecasts like these, or if you're a weather enthusiast like we are here at Hail Trace. You're gonna love our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. We post all kinds of weather things on those platforms. And if you're interested in a hail, wind, or tornado map, give us a call at 855-334-4245 or email us at info@hailtrace.com. Head over to our website. We just posted a blog today at hailtrace.com, so we would love for you to check that out as well. Have a fantastic Wednesday. We'll see you back here, same time, same place tomorrow.